Hello, everybody. This is David Bulla of the Department of Communication at Augusta University. Welcome to Season 1, Episode 3 of CavsCast, a podcast about athletics at Augusta Preparatory Day School in Augusta, Georgia. We're coming to you from the Television, Cinema, and Audio Lab at Augusta University. Today, CavsCast will talk to Annie Trapp, a senior on the Prep varsity cross-country team that is headed to the state championships in Macon on this Saturday, October 29th, and to Jamie McAteer, who's Prep's theater director and upper and middle school theater teacher. Jamie is also a major supporter of Prep athletics. Welcome to the podcast, Hayes and Jamie.
Thank you.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
Yeah, absolutely. Hayes, we're going to start with you. Just had the regionals last week. Tell us a little bit about how that went.
Yeah, it was really good. We got both the boys and girls teams. We got out there. We went out. We won, defending region titles for both teams. We got the job done. A couple people got some PRs, which is great to see, but it went really well overall.
Yeah, and it was at Prep, right?
Yes.
And I think if I read correctly, on the guys' side, y'all got 5 of the top 6. Is that right?
Sounds about right, yes.
And the girls just about the same, maybe 5 of the top 7. Now, this week, big week because the state championship's coming up. How are you preparing for Saturday?
Yeah, I mean, everyone's been telling each other we've been working really hard all season for this. Guys and girls, we're both looking to just go out, run great races. We know we can do it, so we're just trying to get focused, give our best week of training going into it, and then hit it hard on Saturday.
So a lot of miles early in the week and then sort of tailing off as you get toward Thursday and Friday. Is that how it's going to work?
We've been on a taper now for about a week or two, so everyone's mileage has been a little bit lower, generally speaking. So probably it'll probably be a little bit lower overall as a week, just to keep everyone fresh so that we're ready to go Saturday.
And I also know, we just heard Athletic Director talking a little bit about flu going around, cold going around. How do you keep yourselves, away from that?
Yeah, I mean, you try to do the best you can, take care of your body, things like getting sleep, drinking water. You just do whatever you can, and sometimes you do the best, and it just, you get sick anyways. But hopefully, we're gonna control what we can so that hopefully no one gets sick and we're ready to go.
What's your knowledge of the course up there, Macon, and how do you plan to attack it?
So, all we know is what's provided on Mile Split at the moment. It has pretty decent elevation, it appears. So we're expecting some hills. A video of the course looks like there's some sharp turns too. So we're kind of mentally being prepared for a hard race with hills, some sharp turns. And I think we're hoping Friday when we leave to go to the state meet to be able to preview the course ahead of time so we have a better idea of what to expect.
Yeah, so walk it through so you'll know what you're going to be getting into on Saturday. Absolutely. And what about, is it a fairly narrow trail, wide? Can you pass people? How does it look?
It looks pretty narrow. It's mostly in a wooded area, and so it looks like it bottlenecks pretty quickly from the start. And so I think getting out quickly will be important there too, so that once it's narrow, we're kind of all in the positions we need to be.
Well, do you like to get out and get the lead, or do you want to stay like right behind the leader and then sort of sprint at the end? How do you do it?
It definitely depends on the race. I personally am very comfortable being up front. I like being up front. I definitely think Saturday I'll try and get up front early and try and make it a hard race. But definitely, when you're in a situation, you've got other guys, sometimes it's better just to relax and let someone else lead.
Is it a 5K or 6K?
5K.
5K. Okay. And you've broken 16, right?
Yes.
Yeah. And what's your best time so far in 5K?
15:04.
15:04. So you're capable of breaking 15 now.
That's a goal by the end of the season.
Okay. All right. Great. Now, give us sort of the team and your individual goals for Saturday. What do you guys want to accomplish?
Yeah. So I think as a team, the guys will look to defend our state championship. We've won the last 3 as a team. So I think definitely we're looking to win again this year. It'll be tough. Reclassification brought in some great teams, so it's gonna be a tough race. But I know how hard we've worked. I'm confident that if we go, we run our hardest, we can definitely win. I think the girls will look to win as well. They've had a great season, so that's the goal for them. For me personally, definitely trying to win. I've won the last 2 individually, and I got second as a freshman. So definitely look to win my 3rd individual and end my cross-country career in blue and gold on a high note.
Okay, and maybe getting the 1450s too.
Yeah, we'll see about that.
Okay.
But yeah.
Talk a little bit about individuals on the team beside yourself that prep fans might be interested in watching if they're going to go to the meet on Saturday.
Yeah, so Jack Butler is our number 2 man. He's been solid number 2 all year. He's having a great season. He's been under 19 several times. He's run some great PRs. He's been working really hard. I know, like over the summer, he was doing some pretty high mileage, some pretty long runs. He's definitely been really focused about improving this year, and he's really done that. He's also, he's a leader on the team, I'd definitely say. He's a junior, but he's definitely a leader. He helps us get things straight. Inspirational guy, so he's definitely one to look out for. After that, we have a great pack of 4 guys: Seth Krausen, Roy Gamble, Hank Monig, and Aaron Wang. All 4 of them are super tight, usually 10 to 15 seconds between the 4 of them. It's great to have that tight pack. They're all pushing each other. They can work together. They know they can run together. I know they're constantly thinking in races like, we got to be with each other. We got to push each other. It's really good to have that pack there in the race so that they can work together to place high.
Yeah, and if you got 6 guys and you only need 5 to score, somebody's gonna be the odd man out, but everybody's pushing each other, right?
It's great.
Yeah. What about on your sister's side, Annie Trapp? What has she accomplished this year? And talk a little bit about some of her teammates too.
Yeah, so Annie's had a great season. She just a couple weeks ago, for the first time, she broke the girls' school record 5K. She ran 18:53, which is a great milestone for her. She's been knocking on the door of breaking 19 for a while, so getting that was awesome. I think, she'll look to win individually at state and win with the team, obviously. Ruby Dozier is having a phenomenal season as a freshman. She's running really well. She's someone, to be up in that front pack at state. And then just, the returners from last year on the girls' team, we have Mesa coming back, Ashley Liu, just all of them who are coming back will be strong supporters for the girls' team.
How did you and your sister get started in running? Is it a running family?
Yeah, it's kind of funny. My parents, like my dad had to run in high school like for 1 year for conditioning, and so he did that. And my mom ran in high school, and I think she ran for 2 years in college. But she was never into it as much as Annie and I, even though she did in college. But it was just, Annie used to run for fun. Like she'd do, fun run 5Ks, things like that.
Right.
When I went to prep in 6th grade, there's the PE running, event that we do.
Right.
So I did that, and I realized I really liked running because I was always just trying to see how far I could go. So 7th grade, I picked up cross country for the first time and ran track in the spring, and I loved it. I really loved competing, racing. I loved just challenging myself, and so that really sparked my passion for running. And then with every year, I've just come to enjoy it and love it even more. And so that's been great. And I think the story is pretty similar for Annie. She got into it when she went to prep. She's really enjoyed it, and she's just enjoyed every second of it and continue to.
You've committed to William and Mary for college. And of course, you're going to run there as well as be a student. What did you like about William and Mary? Why did you choose it?
Yeah, so there were definitely many reasons that went into my decision and ultimately why I chose William and Mary. First, one of the first things I looked at is academics because my grades have been super important to me. I've worked really hard in middle school and high school to have good grades, and I knew I want to be at a good school. And William and Mary has a very prestigious reputation for a great school, and I know it's a kind of environment academically that I want to be in, as well as the kind of people that go there. It's just a very kind, caring community, people who are really devoted to, obviously their academics, but also lots of other things. And athletically, is just a lot of things. I know when I first started reaching out to colleges, William & Mary was the first school that I heard back from, I remember how exciting that was. I stayed in touch with them throughout the recruiting process, and then, I got to go on an official visit there, and I love the team. I love the coaches there. I'm super excited to be working with them.
What are you going to major in?
I don't know for sure yet, but it will probably be economics or statistics.
Okay. Good one. Either way. Anything else you want to tell us about your future there at William & Mary, and then what you maybe plan to do both as a runner at the university and then even beyond?
Yeah, so I think I'm really excited just to be working with the team there. I know they have big goals as far as what to accomplish in their conference, at regionals, and maybe one day going to nationals. I think that's a vision they have, and that's something that I would love to be a part of. So I'm super excited for that. And besides that, just keep getting faster, see what kind of times I can run, because that's one thing I've always loved about the sport is competing and running fast.
Yeah. And which conference is it in?
CAA.
CAA, Colonial Athletic Association. Yes. Okay. And there's some pretty good programs in that conference. Well, Hayes, good luck with Saturday's run, as well as your teammates and the girls, your sister down in Macon, and then good luck at William & Mary. We're really happy that you've been on the show today. We're going to switch over to Mr. McAteer now. Jamie, please tell us a little bit about what you guys are doing in theater this fall.
Sure. Yeah. There's a lot going on. We have there's 3 upper school performance classes, and there's 1 combined 7th and 8th grade performance class. And the thing I think I love about prep is, one of my favorite things is that the students have the opportunity to participate, whether it's in a class or in our big after-school show. And I like to focus on all of it. I mean, we have an after-school show going on called Almost Maine, and that's going to compete in the one-act competition next week. So all of the semester after-school work, the extracurricular rehearsing, has been building towards competing in the one-act competition next Wednesday, which will be hosted at Prep on November 2nd. And then we'll perform it for the public the following Thursday, Friday, and Saturday for people to come see. It'll be at 7 o'clock on Thursday and Friday and 2 p.m. on that Saturday. I believe that's the 9th, the 10th, and 11th, if my math is right. But anyway, what I was getting at is that's been a big focus after school, is the Almost Maine show, but that doesn't take away from the focus in the classroom as well. I mean, now the performance classes are about to start getting geared up, rehearsing their shows during the day. And then our middle school group is working on Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer, which is a musical. So the combined 7th and 8th graders, which don't ever meet after school. It's all done in the classroom, so it takes the entire semester. They'll be performing that in December. So yeah, we hit the ground running. Basically, we go on our retreats to kind of kick the year off in late August, and then once we get back around Labor Day or the week after, we have that first extracurricular audition, and then we go from there.
Go back to Almost Maine. Who are some of the key students and the roles that they're playing in the play?
Yeah, it's a quirky, one act. Well, it's a full length. It's actually a full length show. We're going to cut it down to compete in one act. But when you come see it at Prep, you're going to get to see the full 90 minutes of the show. It's vignette style, so it's basically 9 different scenes, and most of those scenes are partnered up, 2 people per scene, whether it's a love interest breakup or a getting to know each other or a best friend type thing. I mean, it's all different relationships essentially. But what I like about it is it's pretty quirky, but it's also it's got some depth to it. It's very well written. It's very smart. It'll have its moments of just, where you're laughing, but then you're tearing up because there's a lot of, tugging at your heartstrings. And, I think the one common theme throughout the show is relationships being basically at a climax, whether it's a good one or a bad one, like an upsetting one or an exciting one. And it's interesting. It takes place in its mythical town way up north called Almost Maine, saying they call themselves Almost Maine because they're almost in Canada. They're almost in Maine. They're almost in Canada. They're up at the top. So it's a small mythical town, kind of town where everybody knows everybody. And the idea of these little 10-minute vignettes is that it's the same 10 minutes on a Friday night happening. You know, and the Northern Lights are a big part of the show, something that you can get a good look at up in Maine. And in that moment I was talking about, like that kind of pivotal moment in the scene where the lights happen, you see that in every scene. But then the idea when you're done with the show is that, like, oh, that was the same 10 minutes. Like, those Northern Lights happened once. And this whole town, you know, this is what was going on. So it's kind of neat.
You usually have all the students do everything. So student director, right?
As much as I can. Now, I'm directing this one.
Okay.
But I definitely love, you asked about students. There's a lot of seniors in this one.
Okay.
So, I mean, like Mira Chokshi, Ian Purdy, Seth Sykerbike, Charlie Dees, Faye Smith, Keon Sheridan, Jack McDonald, who's actually a football player, but got interested in theater last year and was in our musical. He squeezed it in with baseball season, and he's been working around the football schedule this year to rehearse. He's in it. I'm trying to think what seniors I'm leaving out. We also have senior techies, Kaylee on the light board. We got Madison backstage. There's another. Alese Nolin's back there too. I'm trying to think. Yeah, a lot of seniors, but there's also a handful of ninth graders and some sophomores. We've got people, ninth grader who's never even been a part of a play and is stage managing. So speaking of students having responsibility, yes, she's never been in a show. She's never been a part of a show, but kind of tossed the opportunity to stage manage at her, and that's given her an opportunity to come to all the rehearsals and kind of see all the different aspects. Students helping to design the lights, coming up with set ideas. You know, Eric Miller is a 3D art teacher who has started doing tech theater with me. He focuses on all the building, but we both have that philosophy of bringing the kids in. Like, what's your idea? Brainstorm with us instead of here's the blueprint, let's do it. It's what do you guys think?
Right.
What do y'all want to do?
Yeah.
So
that's interesting. And so with an athlete involved, when do you practice?
That's a great question.
Do you practice on a weekend or late at night?
It's tricky. It can be tricky. Now, it's funny that I'm sitting here with Hayes because Hayes is an example I would use. I mean, Hayes has never done an extracurricular play, but he's been in a number of plays over the years.
Sure.
So it's kind of nice. He's never made that decision of, I'm going to squeeze in practices. I mean, he's so focused on his running,
sure,
but that doesn't stop him from taking a class and being able to be in a show. Now, those are easy. You just rehearse those during the day.
Right.
Speaking to, say, Jack, the cheerleaders that I have, volleyball players, I've got people juggling all of these sports, cross country. We've got athletes from every sport in the show. What we do is it's about the coaches working together, and it's about us as coaches working with the students to help learn schedule making. You know, we want, Augusta Prep is neat because with such a small student body, you have that opportunity where you can be in a play, but also be on the football team, but also be a runner, but also be a cheerleader. You can't do 5 activities at once. You would run yourself to death. But it's about finding that balance. You know, not everybody wants to juggle a play and a sport, but if they do, we're there to try to work it out. Like, I might have to go late to practice this day, but then come here and miss this day before a game, or we just kind of have to work it out. And every sport's unique, right? So I also try to take advantage of just squeezing in rehearsals when I can. If I have students in class, we may be working on a class play, but I can also say, hey, let's take this day to talk about our after school show a little bit, just to make up some time too. So.
How does the competition work that you're going to be involved in?
The one-act competition is pretty fun. You've got a time limit of 55 minutes. You're supposed to start, you have a blank stage. So one student comes out on stage, introduces, we're school blank, we're performing such and such. Judges start time. They start a stopwatch. And then you bring your set piece, anything you're using as a prop or a set piece or whatever, you build the stage. That's where the backstage crew comes into play, having to bring all of that on stage. And then you start the show, you perform the show, and then you have to take everything back off the stage and then say stop time, and it has to be under 55 minutes. So part of that fun, a lot of times you go to a play, you just have your setup, it's already ready to go. lights up, let's start. It's neat to have to start with a completely blank stage, build it, and then perform, and then take it all apart. So that comes into the ideas when we're designing sets and designing what we're going to do. We have to think, okay, this has got to be something we can set up quick, something that can move easily, and I think that's probably the thing that a lot of people don't realize about the competition that makes it extra fun instead of just performing a play. Like, it's that setup and that breakdown, and the fact that I chose a full-length play, so we need to cut it down to 55 minutes. So which scenes are we going to trim? What are we going to do? We did Macbeth last year, which is, full-length Shakespeare show, and then I found a cutting that was about 60 minutes, but that's still, I had to trim another 5 minutes out, and then a couple of minutes for the set to get up. So, it's that's part of the creative process too, and that's something we bring the students in on. Let them help make those decisions.
Now, do all the students who are rehearsing participate in the competition?
Well,
or is
with this show in particular, there's 9 scenes that are going to be performing at prep, but only about 5, maybe 4 or 5 of them are going to be in the competition. So, it's a lot of my seniors. Honestly, I went with a lot of my seniors. I also went with a suggested cutting that the playwright suggests. He says, he understands. Oh yeah, I know the competitions are a big thing. If you want to cut the show, maybe use these 4 scenes. And I'm trying to squeeze a 5th one in, so we'll see if that works. But yeah.
How many other schools participate in this competition?
We have 5 schools in our region, and Hayes said something earlier about the realignment thing. We're going through a little bit of that on the art side as well. So some different schools. A lot of ours stayed the same, but we lost a school. We might have 2 years ago. We gained a couple of schools. So it's anywhere from 5 to 8 in the last 6 years or so. But this year in particular, we have 5 schools, so there'll be 5 of us competing.
So total of about 5 hours then, right?
Yeah.
Long day.
Yeah, yep. Lots of shows for the judges to watch.
Rudolph, for the middle school, you want to say anything more about that?
Yeah, I think what's fun about the middle school program is, in the high school, they have a lot more electives to choose from. And, there's just a lot to choose from. So a lot of times the students you're getting signed up for theater, they know they pretty much want to do it. You still get your student that, I'm just gonna try this out. Let me see if I enjoy it. Maybe do it for a year. But a lot of times you start to get those repeat students that repeat and want to keep doing shows in the classroom. In middle school, it's a lot of students' very first time ever trying to be a part of a big show. And so it's neat to have some people that have done shows and are leaders and taking those big parts, and they know exactly what they're doing. But then you get some people who've never stepped foot on a stage before, and they're just in there because this is just what I'm taking right now. What is this all about? Right. And it's a neat thing to see these students trying something for the first time. It's going really well. The class is very energized, very excited. I think a lot of future high school performers are in this current 7th and 8th grade class. You see certain classes just kind of bubble up and be full of performers. I got a large senior class this year, but some of the other grade levels is a little smaller, and then I feel like it's bubbling again. So some of these 8th graders, once 7th and 8th graders get to high school, they're gonna take over the upper school department. Definitely, it's gonna see a big boom.
In spring semester, what are you planning to do?
We don't know yet. We know it's gonna be a musical, but we're still kind of figuring out what it is we want to do. I try and do as much variety as possible. I like to think of it as like a 4-year plan in a way. Like, if I do this style of fall non-musical, and then I do this style of musical, then what about the next year? Like, if I'm a student who just starting, like, I want to get a variety of shows in the next 4 years. So I try to do classic shows mixed with some more modern stuff, mixed with maybe a serious one, mixed with a comedy. And we did a comedy last year, but it had like a little bit of a dark edginess to it because it was the Addams Family. So got to try to find something to kind of counteract that. But we'll make that announcement as we get closer to the holiday break.
But that gives you an opportunity when you do a musical to work with the music program. And Genie Williams runs that. She was going to be here today, but she's sick. Tell us a little bit of how y'all work together.
Yeah, we teach that 7th and 8th grade class together. So Genie works in all 3 divisions, lower, middle, and upper. And I'm 7th grade through 12th grade. So she has music going on with the younger students. And then once they hit that 7th and 8th grade, elective opportunity, that's when we start putting on actual theatrical productions. And her and I co-teach. So she handles music. She does a lot of choreography. And then I do the directing overall and try to make sure with my upper school techies that the tech things happen. We also let middle schools run the soundboard, run the light board. So I'm also teaching that tech aspect to middle schoolers as well. And it's not unusual to have upper schoolers assist with that class as well. So you've got the upper school mentors kind of helping direct and choreograph and costume and work backstage for a show like that. So a lot of my juniors and seniors, you'll see them helping co-teach and co-direct the middle school musicals. But yeah, Genie and I work very well together in that classroom. And then when it comes to the spring musical, we just coordinate her doing the music for whatever show we both decide on. So it's just about scheduling those rehearsals and her handling the music and me doing the overall direction.
Anything else you want to tell us about the fine arts program at Prep?
Yeah, I think we have a really strong fine arts program. I mean, we won Region 1 Act last year. We tied at state, and it went down to like a like a little tiebreaker deal where something happened. We lost by like a point, I believe, but I mean it was so close. So to have such a successful Region 1 Act, a very successful State 1 Act to get runner up, and then literary is something else that our fine arts, our performing arts competes in. And every spring where we have, it's not just performers, it's also the English departments, people writing essays, doing impromptu speaking, doing spelling, and then doing monologues and duo scenes and singing quartet, singing trios, singing solo. So that's a whole different competitive team that we cast in second semester. We won region and state literary last year. So we've had a lot of success recently with not just the competitions, but I just think the overall shows themselves. And that goes for visual art too. Saying back to something I started with, is one of my favorite things about Prep is the small student body gives opportunity for a lot of different people to take part. And I've always had that mentality. I was a baseball player growing up who found theater, and I've always, for the 18 years I've been there trying to build up the theater program, it's always been my goal that you can do everything. If you are a hardcore theater kid and that's what you want to do, great. But don't be afraid to try a sport if you never have, because at Prep you could give it a try. You could get on that team and see if you like it for a season. And it's the same thing with the athletes. You see a lot of athletes that want to give it a try, but they feel like they're, oh, no, I'm an athlete. But I've always had really great success being like, no, you're not just an athlete. You're not just a theater student. You can do it all.
Sure.
So it can be tough to schedule it, but I do think that's important that that we have a lot of student athletes doing theater and vice versa. It's like they take it all on.
Well, as a chair of a comm department in a university, a lot of things that happen in drama are very similar to what happens in sports. There's a lot of drama in sports, and we have a lot of athletes who want to go into television sports broadcasting or do radio play-by-play or commentary. So
absolutely,
there's a lot of similarities, I think.
Yeah.
Well, let's transition and sort of wrap things up today by talking about just the fall sports in general. Obviously, you pay close attention to it, and of course, Hayes is on the cross country and track team. The volleyball team won the region and made it to the state semifinals. A really good season, and coach got to, I believe, 400 wins, I think, for his career. Obviously, the cross country teams are back in the state title. Just won the regional last week at Prep. And the football team is coming off a very difficult 21-14 loss at Briarwood, and they play Edmund Burke on Friday in the senior game.
Yes.
But in general, it sounds like it's been a pretty good fall semester for athletics at Prep.
Yeah, I think so. I mean, wouldn't you agree?
Yeah, no, I definitely agree. It's gone pretty well.
Yeah, and I think the sort of the big things that came out of last year was you guys winning cross country, and you in particular and your sister, but also the soccer team, which seems to win like you guys win the state championship every year. And basketball especially boys basketball, had a wonderful run, won the region, and got well into the state tournament. So it's about that time to start switching a little bit. Basketball, I think, has started practice.
Yep.
We're heading toward winter sports. Hayes, I'm going to finish with you. What do you do once Saturday's over before we get back to the spring sports?
Yeah, so the goal is after Saturday. 2 weeks after, I'll go to the Georgia High School Meet of Champions. I'll race there. It's a great race I've done the past couple years. And then 2 weeks after that, I believe that's a Saturday following Thanksgiving, I go to the Foot Locker / East Bay South Regional Championships. So that'll be it's a big race against all runners from the South. So I'll go there, run in the championship race, and see how high I can place, competing against some of the best runners in the South. And then week after that, I have the Garmin Running Lane Cross Country National Championships. And so I'll go there, hopefully I get seeded into the gold race. And so I guess, it's a chance to compete for national championships. So I'm super excited for that.
And where's the regional being held?
So for that race, the Foot Locker Regional?
Right.
Foot Locker Regional is at McAlpine Creek Park in Charlotte, North Carolina.
And then the nationals held where?
So Running Lane is hosted in Huntsville, Alabama.
In Huntsville. So they are in the South. Yep. That helps a little bit. Yep. Charlotte's not that far away. Huntsville's a little farther, but anyway, well, good luck on that. And you've had a great career. One more thing to do for prep, but the William and Mary thing kind of, I think, is that's the final present. Well, good luck there, and good luck this Saturday, and good luck on next week in your competition, as well as the show for the prep audience.
Thank you so much. I have to give Ethan Fender a shout out. He's the only senior I think I left out of my senior spiel. So
okay.
Ethan Fender.
Okay, and the presentations will be at Hull. I believe you said on Thursday. I want to get to the 10th, 11th, and 12th.
I know, I just want to make sure I'm right. It's Thursday the 10th and 11th at 7 p.m. And then at 2 o'clock, we'll do a matinee to close it out on Saturday. November the 12th.
Okay. All right. So people, there's your opportunity to come see some wonderful theater at Augusta Prep. Well, Jamie and Hayes, thank you so much for being on the CavsCast today. It's been wonderful talking to both of you. We wish you the best of luck going forward. That's the CavsCast for today. Thank you all for listening. CavsCast is a production of Augusta Prep Athletics and the Department of Communication at Augusta University. The producer in the control room is Ethan Balducci, and I'm David Bulla, your host. Also, thank you to Prep Head of School Derek Willard and Athletics Director Rorie Bradley for their support of the podcast. And stay tuned in a few weeks. We will have another podcast about athletics at Augusta Prep. You'll find the podcast on YouTube and social media. Have a great day and listen again soon, and we're out. Thank you very much.